Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Breaking beauty news. We have a hard, cold case of the dupes, you guys. I was shopping around on this little website called SHEIN. It's kind of like a fast fashion website, but they now have makeup and like home goods. And they have these little eyeshadow palettes on there that are $6. Looks a little familiar, doesn't it? Yes, I thought so. This palette looks almost exactly the same as this Huda Beauty palette that I have. This palette was $6. I'm pretty sure this one was $32. If it was something else, I'll correct myself. I'm gonna do one eye with the SHEIN palette, one eye with the Huda Beauty palette. So if you're ready to see how this all goes, give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already. And let's get started. Now, first things first. Yeah. So colors are arranged a little bit different, but from what I'm seeing, everybody has a clear match. So let's start with some side-by-side swatches. Okay, so in the Huda palette, these shadows don't have names, but in the Bubblegum palette, they do have names. Okay, so this shade in the Bubblegum palette is called Meet Me. I'm just gonna swatch them side by side so that y'all can like see what they look like, but I won't tell you which one's which until the end. So there's one and then there's the other. I know that's kind of hard to see. In the Bubblegum palette, this one is called Gold Link. It's that neon yellow shade. In the Bubblegum palette, this one is called Flamingo. Okay. In the Bubblegum palette, this one is called Lace. Oh boy, we're a little narrow on the wrist, Haley. Oh Lord, okay. In the Bubblegum palette, this one's called Mimosa. In the Bubblegum palette, this one is called Peach. This one is called Earth in the Bubblegum palette. I'm doing such a good job of swatching right now, you guys. These are the first two that look kind of different in the actual color. This one looks a little more pink, a little more brown. Dos más. This one is called Play in the Bubblegum palette. Finally, this one is called Tarot in the Bubblegum palette. Okay, so my amazing swatches. Thank you so much. So looking at these swatches, this is one of the palettes. This is the other palette. Which do you think is which? Cast your ballots now. Text "Who cares" to "I don't care." Palettes will be revealed right now. This side right here is the Huda palette. This side is the Bubblegum palette. So how'd you do? What do we think? So as far as like how they felt in the palette, the shimmers in the Bubblegum palette were much, much softer, but the matte shades in the Huda palette were way softer than the mattes in the Bubblegum palette. All right, let me get cleaned up and we will get started. Although the layout is not the same, I will be pairing each shade with its corresponding color from the other palette, because I mean, they are exact matches. Okay, so I'm gonna start with these two Morphe brushes. They're the same brush. They don't have like a Morphe ALPQM457 whatever, but they are the same brush. I have several of a particular set of eye brushes that they were selling at one point. It was like a set of 4 brushes and they went on sale at one point, so I bought like a whole bunch of those sets of 4. So I have a lot of matching brushes. I'm gonna start on this eye with the Bubblegum palette, this eye with the Huda palette. So I've already primed my eyelids with some concealer. I'm gonna start with this one in the Bubblegum palette called Flamingo. Pretty messy. Oh!
messy. Oh.
I'm like, where is it? Now I'm gonna go into this shade in the Huda palette. Woo! That one's dusty too. So my first eye with the Bubblegum palette, it took me what felt like 7 years to get it to this place. And when I picked up the Huda palette, I was like, okay, Huda, this is gonna lay down so easy. 1, 2 dips and we're gonna be done, right? No, this feels like it's taking 7 years as well with the Huda palette. And the colors, very close, very, very close. Now I've got 2 of the same smaller fluffy brushes. I'm gonna go into Taro in the Bubblegum palette, this one. Then it will be this shade from the Huda palette. All right, now I'm gonna take 2 small fluffy brushes again, and I'm gonna go into the Earth shade in the Bubblegum palette, and I'm gonna just see if I can get things to deepen up a little bit more. That doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. Now back to the Huda side. That shade. So as far as the mattes go, it took about the same amount of building and blending to get here. I used 3 different matte shadows on both eyes, but what do you guys think? Now I'm going to use a little bit of concealer and make some space on my lid. I'm gonna do like a halo eye. Now I've got 2 of the same packer brush, and I'm gonna go into, it's called Mimosa in the Bubblegum palette. Ew, very pretty. Alrighty, and then in the Rose palette, this one right here. They're very, very similar. The Huda one is a little bit lighter. I packed about the same amount of shadow. I had to dip twice in both palettes. And then in the Huda palette, I was like, I feel like I remember this formula preferring my finger. So I went in, did a little bit with my finger. It amped it up just a little bit more. I went ahead and did the same from the SHEGLAM palette just to be fair. And I gotta say, the SHEGLAM looks more, a little more shimmery, more like pa. This one's a little bit more green toned. This one's a little bit more yellow toned. Now I've got my 2 small fluffy brushes. I'm gonna use this shade to kind of blend the edges. So that one was a little tricky. The shimmer kind of wanted to like move around. Like I was kind of blending this little purpley shade over top of it, and the shimmer wanted to just sort of get away from me a little bit, but I got it done. I think it looks all right. Let me go do the same on the Huda side. So we're gonna go right here. Okay, well this shimmer's kind of doing the same thing. I'm trying to like blend my brush over it, and it's like moving as I'm trying to blend into it a little bit. And it's crazy because like the texture, the consistency of the shimmers in both palettes is also very similar. The Huda formula I'd say is a little bit more unique, but they're both kind of like a jelly, squishy kind of formula almost. They remind me of like Super Colors. They remind me of like Colourpop Super Shock shadows. Super Colors, what am I? Now I'm going back to my big fluffy brushes, and I'm gonna go with this shadow right here, and I'm gonna go over through the crease a little bit, kind of blend things out. Normally I would do this with the very first shadow that I used, but that shadow didn't do like anything. I think that's at a good place for the moment. I'm gonna hop off and do the rest of my makeup. I have a bunch more SHEGLAM makeup that I am going to be trying out today. That's all gonna go in a separate video. So let me go put everything else on and we'll come back, finish it up. Alrighty, and there is the final look. The color really didn't show up so great on the lower lash line, but it's a very pastel, very just sort of wash of color over the lids. I mean, the green shimmer shade on both of them are absolutely beautiful. I don't know who it is. It might have been both of them. It might have just been one. I don't know. But there's just glitter everywhere. I have glitter all over my face. I don't know if you can see it. You can see it. Oh yeah, my face is like shining. I just got glitter everywhere. It's still on my hands. It's all over everything in front of me. So one of them is a shedder. Let me get up and close my eyes. Can you see it? My eyes are closed, so I don't know if it's a good way to look at it. Let me do this and then just look down maybe. These are the parts when I'm editing. I'm always like, you're such an idiot. Oh my God. Honestly, you guys, like, I don't think anyone would be able to tell that I used different eyeshadows for this look. As far as how the shadows performed, between the mattes and the shimmers, all very similarly. There, of course, are some differences in the palettes. Very different size, number one. I wonder how much, let me see how much product, oh shoot, you get in both of them. So in the Huda palette, you get 0.21 ounces of product, and in this palette, you get 0.44 ounces of product. So you're still getting, you're getting like more than double the product in this palette than you are in this palette. Very different sizes, different amounts of product. As far as like as far as like blendability and build ability, they performed very, very similarly as far as like how many times I had to dip in and buff out. Like all of that was very much balanced. Let me put them on their respective side. So again, this was the Huda side. And then this was the SHEGLAM side. There are some slight differences in the shades. This one is a little bit more brown than its sister shade in the Huda palette, and the green shimmer reads a little bit more green than the shimmer in the Huda palette. That one reads a little bit more yellow. Otherwise, y'all, like honestly, I'm mad that I paid as much money for this one as I did when this one is $6. And again, I used a coupon code, so it was less than $6. So that's crazy. Wow, I was expecting like maybe the mattes wouldn't be as pigmented or they wouldn't blend. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Still a great palette. Like the shadows blended out fine. I thought maybe the shimmer would be a little lackluster. It's definitely just as beautiful. I don't know. I'll have to do further investigation on which one it is that is causing the glitter madness in my life right now. I don't know which one it is. Could be both of them. So let me guys know what you think. Why do I always say that? This is another 9-pan palette. It's not a Huda dupe palette. It's just like its own thing. Isn't that fun? Like they are, I mean, she's thick, you know, like they are hefty little palettes. $6 each, you guys. Go get you one. These are fun. And they had a bunch. They had a lot of different ones. So let me know what you guys think about the eye looks. Let me know what you guys think about these palettes. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much, so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.